Make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. You silence fear, Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. Breathe, call these bones to live, call these lungs to sing once again. I will praise Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. You silence fear, Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, your name is light. The shadows can't deny. Your name will not be overcome. Your name is light, forever lifted high. Your name will not be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus.
I'm gonna stop when the song ends.
Your
You're fine.
name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name will not be overcome. Your name is alive, forever lifted high. Your name will not be overcome. Your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name will not be overcome. Your name is alive, forever lifted high. Your name will not be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus.
Ladies, welcome. I am so excited that you're here for our Be the Change event. So I'm your host, Lemon Price, and I'm honestly just so grateful that you came in this monsoon to hang out with us. It is going to be such a beautiful night. My friend Michelle is here. She flew all the way in from California today to hang out with us. So I'm so excited. I've got my friend Danae and Justina and her daughter Talia are actually going to open us up in worship. So I'm going to let you guys take it away.
All right, I'm going to open us in prayer. If you want to stand, that would be awesome. Lord, we just thank you so much. Thank you for traveling mercies. We know that the rain is coming down, but we just ask that those that are still en route, that they would get here safely. And Lord, we just ask that you would just have your way tonight, that you would whisper exactly what. The miracle that I just
I can see your heart in everything you think.
with us. I just want to introduce the lovely Danae. She is so beautiful. I love her heart. I met her a couple of months ago, and I just love what she is doing in the realm of empowerment and leadership for young girls between the ages of 18 and 25. And this is why I brought my daughter to this event, so she can meet her. And so I just want to welcome the lovely Danae to come up and give, I believe, her testimony.
That was beautiful, Talia and Christina. Thank you so much. Thank you for getting started. Ladies, thanks to each of you for coming out in the torrential downpour. We so appreciate that you're here. I'm just going to start off with just a little bit of my story the last couple of years. I started out right after college doing youth ministry full-time, and then I worked at a university for 4 years and found myself in corporate world there, which was wonderful, but also a lot of secular influence and not a lot of mentors who love Jesus. And I knew God wanted me to work with college students, and I was seeking that. And when we moved to a different town, I decided that God was calling me to work in the coaching field and start my own business, to really work with college girls. Louder? Okay. Louder. And it was right around the end of 2019. So in 2020, I decided I was going to start my own business, and that was a whole new journey. And then COVID happened, and then I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And that next 2 years was really, really difficult for me. I was seeking women of good fruit in my life. I was seeking mentorship. I felt very lost in entrepreneurship. I did not know how to run a business. It was very difficult to be a Christian coach. There's a lot of very new agey coaches out there, and that's the trainings I was getting. And I was seeking just somewhere where women understood that I wanted to do coaching, a business, but also ministry, because that's what it is about for me. I want young women to know that God is God and build their foundation on Him. And so actually last year, I met the lovely Lemon. I'm still not even sure how. Social media. There's always a reason. And she introduced me to this beautiful community that is Girl Power Alliance. And I went to the conference last year in September, not sure what I was getting myself into, not sure what I was going to experience there. And while I was there, God told me this is vision. And I did not know what that meant at that time. But in the last 10 months, He has shown me that I now have beautiful mentors, not just for business, but for motherhood, for being a wife, for just being a woman of God. And they're all over, not just the United States, but over the world. And that's been so amazing. I love this community. It's very hard to find a good community where you can come in as a woman and be accepted and loved on. And I found that here. And not only that, but financially it's been able to provide. Also, I'm not even having to pay for the resources that I'm getting, and it's the best training I've ever received. And I paid a lot of money for a lot of trainings. And then also just leadership who believes in me and my vision that I just am blown away by, because I had a lot of coaches tell me, oh, you'll never make money with college girls. They don't have it, so they just dismissed it. But I have a beautiful team here who sees what importance it is to bring in the next generation. So I'm just so excited to be here, and I'm just grateful that all of you came tonight. And I want to introduce my lovely mentor, Lemon Price. She is an incredible wife and mom and just a woman of God. She has a beautiful, beautiful heart for the Lord, and just teaching women how it is that we can lead and serve Him. So I'm going to bring her up.
Oh my gosh, today's gonna make me so emotional, right here in the very beginning. So I remember it was about this time last year, I had a pastor say to me, women don't want community, women don't want leadership, and women don't know what it means to go deep in their faith. And yeah, it's a real conversation I had. He said that actually irritates him when women say they want to go deep in their faith because they have no clue what that actually means. Wow. And when I told him my ideas for women's ministry, he said, great, no thank you. And he called me a few hours later and said, our church doesn't need a women's ministry program, and cut it from the church, because I wanted to take women deeper in their faith. And they still don't have one. And it was right at that time when the co-founder of this community, she reached out to me because I had been teaching classes and everything. I was getting my MDiv in apologetics and theology, And so I was teaching women how to really study the scriptures, right, and go deep in their faith, like this pastor said women don't want. And she reached out to me and she said, hey, I've got a community. Do you want to partner with us? And I said, probably not. No, thank you. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to keep coming at you. If Molly's watching, she knows. And she was like, okay, well, I'll just be here. And every day she kept coming, are you sure you don't want to? She kept sending me stuff. I didn't watch a single thing she sent me. She knows that for a fact. I did not watch one single thing she sent me. And my husband asked me, he said, well, do you want to do this by yourself, or like, do you want to make an impact? What's your goal? And I said, well, I want to make an impact, right? Like, I just had a pastor shut a whole women's ministry program down in front of my face. So yeah, the goal is impact. And so I dove all in on this community, and I cannot begin to tell you that Michelle can tell you I'm a different person than the one that she met a year ago. My husband can tell you I'm a different person than the wife he married a couple of years ago. Like, he's back there nodding his head. I have never felt so equipped and empowered and seen and heard. I remember Michelle, she called me last year, 4th of July. It was on 4th of July. She said, we need to have come to Jesus.
It was on 4th of July.
It was on 4th of July. I know. We were at a barbecue for Glenn's birthday, and she says, you need to email my mom and you need to set an appointment because we need to have a come to Jesus. And I said, okay, that's fine. I had a heart attack the whole rest of 4th of July because I'm like, well, I screwed up something real bad here. And she's about to proverbially slap my wrist here and tell me I'm an idiot. And instead, she poured into me so much and continues to pour into me. And the vision that she has seen in me has allowed me to step up and just be a better wife and a mother and a leader. And I am so eternally grateful for what this community has done for me, because it is a community where women get community and we get leadership and we get to go deep in our faith. And so I am so grateful for my friend Michelle Schaefer here, who took this very unsure step of what this was. God gave her this beautiful vision. And I know she's going to talk about the vision God gave her. And she didn't know what it looked like. She had no clue what it looks like. And I probably, I text you at least once a week and tell you how grateful I am that you say yes and that you took this step, because she is truly incredible, and the work she does is incredible. And so I want to bring out my friend Michelle Schaefer. She is the founder of our community. She is a 7-figure earner. She is a podcaster. She's written 2 books with more coming. She is just incredible in all things. She's this beautiful wife and mother and my friend, and I just love you so much. So thank you for being here.
I have 2 favors. Can we condense and everybody come closer together this way and closer this way? I know, look at you, you're spread out like you're trying to colonize these little rows. Everybody come this way and this way. We're gonna get a little bit close. There's not one solitary body on the front row. Somebody dare to do it. I dare you to stand in the front row. Thank you. And then the second favor that I have is, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Lemon's birthday is Monday. Can we sing happy birthday to her?
No.
Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lemon. Happy birthday to you. I love you so much. I love you. Gosh. Well, thank you all for coming. I wasn't expecting it to be completely boring. I mean, I guess I should have been this out, but was it still when you got here? Yeah.
Umbrella.
Like hard. Well, I didn't have an umbrella, so I have a towel that I wrapped around my head. The last song that Justina and her daughter sang, I'm gonna read you the last couple lines, because it really, the Holy Spirit just hit me with it. It says, I can see your heart in everything you've done. And of course, they're probably talking about, like, the earth and everything. But I was feeling that for myself. I can see your heart in everything you've done. Like, I'm going to talk about my story tonight, all the really crap parts of my story. I can see God in everything He's done. Every part designed in a work of art called love. I don't know if anybody can relate, like, some bad things and you're like, why is this happening? Only to look back and go, man, he actually totally knew what he was doing. And the next line says, if you gladly chose surrender, so will I. I can see your heart 8 billion different ways. Are they expecting us to hit 8 billion people on the planet? Is that what that's all about? Every precious one, a child you died to save. If you gave your life to love them, so will I. It just really hit me when the girls were singing that song. Because if you've been in church at all, you've heard us Christians, our community, we've heard songs and you say, break my heart for the things that break yours, God. Like, help me to see people in the way that you see people. Help me to love people in the way that you love them. And it's like lip service, I think, for most of us, because we say that and then we walk outside, somebody cuts us off and we're like, ha! We come back to who we are. But I feel very privileged because I feel that at this particular part in my life, God has broken my heart for the things that break his. And I have never felt love for humanity like I feel in this particular time of my life. And I feel this sense of urgency and responsibility to do what we're doing. So I want to say thank you guys for coming out in this rain. The heck? Didn't think it was, I thought it was going to be like beautiful and sunny. It is still humid though, so you guys got that. Is it okay if I share with you a little bit about my story tonight? This is very interactive, so like just casual if you want to ask a question or something. I'm from California. I am a mom. That's always how I classify myself first because I became a mom at 16 years old. I have a 33-year-old, a 30-year-old, and a 20-year-old daughter. Had my daughter in my junior year of high school. My son when I was 19 years old. I married my high school sweetheart, and I was divorced with 2 kids by the time I was 21. That defined me for a really long time, and it made me work really hard because I did not want the stigma that was attached to being a single mom, and I didn't want a teen mom and a single mom, and I didn't want my children to have suffered for the fact that I was a young mom. That wasn't their fault. So I was always very driven and motivated to work hard for them so that they would have a good life. The first part of my career, I put myself through school. Come sit up here, Kimberly. There's only one in the front.
Sit
Come
with
up,
me right
come
now.
up. You're coming up.
That's
Hi,
what
friend.
you said.
You look beautiful.
So glad you're here. They're all sparkly.
And wet from the rain. Okay. The first part of my career, I was a hairdresser. I stood behind the chair as a stylist and a makeup artist, and I actually loved that career. I thought it was really fun and wonderful, although I knew I wasn't going to do it forever. I just knew that it was hard on your body, and it wasn't, I just knew. I knew it was a great thing for the time, and I knew it wasn't going to be my forever career. And I can look back as a single mom during those years when my children were school age, my older 2, and there are entire school years that I don't have any memories with them. And we didn't have smartphones. I don't have millions of pictures like all the children now. I have their school picture that they took at school. They have memories. They got to spend time with my parents and my grandparents because I was such a young mom, and they got to enjoy things with them, but I didn't because I was working. And if you were ever in a situation where you're just working to make ends meet, that's all that's what you're thinking about. I wasn't thinking at the time about I'm not making memories. I was thinking about I have to make enough so that I can provide for my children. They need shoes, they need things, they want to play sports. Of course, they weren't playing sports then because I was working so much. So there were things about what I was doing that I wished I could change. I wanted to make more money, work less time. I mean, hello, that's not what we all want to do. I wanted to, and another thing that I was starting to feel that I loved that women would come in feeling down and leave with a spring in their step. You guys felt like that when you go to your hairdresser? Like, yes? I mean, you know what I'm talking about. But there was something deep in my soul that wanted to have a different kind of an impact that was lasting beyond how good their hair looked that day. Because they would always say, can you just come home with me, make me look like this every day? But there was a desire in my heart for something a little bit deeper. But I didn't know what that was. But I was open. I was always just open, whatever it was. And as a hairdresser standing behind the chair, everybody tried to sign me up into every possible thing that there was. Back in those days when I was doing hair, Party Light. Did anybody know what Party Light was? Yes, okay, so that was a hot ticket at that time. Everybody that sat in my chair, the candles, they just burn all the way down. I was like, I don't know why that's so amazing, but thank you. And I thought of that career, that job that people did, it was what bored housewives did to make a couple $100 extra a month. Little hobby, like a party line. It's candles. It was a network marketing company that sold candles that burned all the way down. There's like no wax residue, I guess. Anybody do it? Am I getting it right?
Girl, I still have some.
Apparently, it was all the rage, let me tell you. And it was cool with the candles, but people were excited, women that tried to get me into it, they were excited because it was a business that they could make some money. And they talked about big money. My cousin's aunt's neighbor is in Party Light, and she's making X amount of money. It was always these crazy amounts of money. But I never knew anybody, so I just thought, people lie about what they make, so it's probably not really true. Because all the people that I knew, they just made little hobby money. I was too busy. I didn't have time for a hobby. I didn't take another night away from my family so I could make an extra couple $100 a month. I built a very successful career standing behind the chairs, making between $100,000 and $130,000 a year. At the time, that hairdresser average across the country was about $40,000 a year. So I was proud of myself. I had done something significant, I felt. But I mean, I was working. I worked 50 to 60 hours a week to do it. And by the way, I worked in heels the whole time. My whole career, I worked in heels. And they weren't very comfortable. But I was young. I was very young, so I could do it. Couldn't do it now. Well, okay, so I'm going to fast forward you a little bit. I was introduced to, on a blind date, I met my husband in July. It was actually July 29th of 2020. On a blind date I didn't want to go on. I dated a little bit in the years that I was single, and I was like, this is not for me. I figured at the old age of 26 years old that I was never going to be married again. I already had 2 kids. Nobody was going to want me. And I literally told the Lord, if you have somebody for me, you're going to have to like throw them in the grocery store or something, because I'm not. And we didn't have apps, or there was none of that. And I wasn't going to bars. So it was like, how are you going to meet somebody? I very much got forced into this blind date. It was a girl in the salon who was getting her nail. I only did her hair twice. Only cut her hair. It was a very short appointment, 2 times. But she came in almost every week to get her nails done. So she was always in the salon. For whatever reason, she always invited me to things. I live in California. I live about an hour from LA. And she was not necessarily in the crowd that I would hang out with. She'd be like, hey, I'm going to this party at the Playboy Mansion. Do you want to go? I have an extra ticket. I was like, thank you, no. I'm going to this thing, this MTV party. Do you want to go? And she told me these really wild stories. And I was like I'm just going to go home with my children. I was very calm. So anyway, after her literally hounding me for months, I just had a weak moment. I said, fine, I'll go on a date. She was wanting to introduce me to the friend of a boyfriend or something. So like, whatever, I'll get a free cocktail out of it and I'll be done with my night. And so I met this man who I've been with since 2020. He's my husband. We've been together for 23 years now. But he was involved in this profession of network marketing. And he was very successful. At the time, I wasn't completely aware, or I would have tried to take advantage, trust me. But he was making an annual salary every month. And so I got to see the success side of that profession that I thought was just hobby money. But I didn't get into it because I had worked so hard to build my career stand behind the chair. Fast forward a couple more years, we had my third, his first child. And so when she was about 2 years old, I had a freshman in high school. I had a middle school boy. Anybody have any kids in middle school or have gone through middle school? Have had kids that have gone through it. It's like, we just need to all come home when our children are in middle school. It is a bizarre time of life. And then I had the toddler. And on any given day, we were off in 5 different directions. My husband owned a mortgage company at the time. I was doing hair. Daughter in high school, son in middle school, child going to daycare. And my daughter, who was a freshman in high school, played sports. She played basketball and softball. I got to go to 0 basketball games, and I got to go to 1 softball game because I was working. And something began to well up in my gut. And it wasn't like, it'd be really cool if it was like, I don't know if any of you have ever felt this. It was literally it was a desperate, almost anxiety that kept me awake at night. I have to get out from behind the chair. I have to do it. I have to figure out something fast because my kids are going to grow up and move out and they will have never known me. It still makes me want to cry. And they're long gone. They're all out of the house now. Because it's all we have. like time. It's all we have. This day, we don't get to redo this day. And I had years that I had missed with my children. And here my daughter was in high school, and I was watching the sands in the hourglass. I was like, it's almost over. So I decided to take the leap into this world of network marketing. I had a girlfriend that kept trying to get me into her company, and I'm going to say it as nice as I can. She wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but she was making money that I thought was impressive. So I thought, if she could do it, I mean, I could do this because I have my husband, right? He knows what's going on, so I'm going to jump in. And my only goal in that profession was to make half of what I was making. If I could make half of my income, I could, instead of working 50 to 60 hours a week, I could work 25 to 30. That sounded like a dream to me. Working 25 to 30, I was like, that's a vacation in my life. And when I jumped in, I kind of fell in love. Within 6 months, I quit. I retired from the career I had built for 10 years behind the chair, and after 9 months, I had matched my income. And for the last almost 20 years, I've been in that profession. My husband and I have worked together in that profession. We owned a company 10 years ago. That lasted 2.5 years. That's another meeting. I won't tell you about that, but it did not end the way that we thought it was going to end. But I learned a lot. It's one of those moments. I could see God in every hard moment of that experience. We've built teams. We've started from nothing 3 times in the profession and built a business into, 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, and even 7 figures, building big teams. And I've helped women make a couple $100 a month, their little hobby money, to a couple $1,000s a month, to hundreds of thousands, and even millions in the profession. I've been able to help women do that. And I was like addicted. As good as I felt doing hair, I could take a woman, that was one thing, but to have a woman call me up crying and say, I'm retiring 6 years early because of the income that I'm making here. I was like addicted. I was like, that's the kind of income that's the kind of impact I want to have on people's lives, because I could help them build wealth. I know that's one of the things that God designed me to do, is to help women build wealth. Okay, my whole career. I've been a Christian my whole life. I grew up in the church. I never had this period of time where I was like, I never questioned it. I had an experience as a child that I never wondered. Doesn't mean I always walked with God, but I always knew God. And I had been taught in business that if you want to be successful, then you never talk politics and you never talk religion if you want to be successful. So I didn't. I never talked either. But mind you, in this career over 20 years, God was doing a radical work in my life. Does anybody, you guys know what personal development is? Anybody ever read a personal development book, self-help, anything like that? Go to an event, try to better yourself. Well, when I first got involved in network marketing, almost 20 years ago, my husband would tell me, you got to read. I would hear him too on trainings. Read this book, listen to this. I'm going to age myself. Cassette tape. We were just starting to have CDs, but we had cassette tapes. And I was like, I don't understand why if I read this book, it's going to help me do better in my business. It made no sense to me. I was like, I just want to make money and get home. Like, why do I need to read this book about leadership? It doesn't make any sense. But I did it because he had been successful and I wanted to listen to him. He was my mentor. Well, when I began to engage in personal development, I saw the power of, oh my gosh, I actually could become a better version of me. I was becoming a better version of me. I was communicating better. I was understanding people better. I was learning things about myself that needed to shift and change that I was completely unaware of until I kind of do that thing. Maybe I could get better. And so personal development has been a huge part of my journey. But for me, personal development has always, always been spiritual development. Because even if I would go to an event that was secular, I could see God in it. And I'd be like, oh, they're so close. It was a good event, but oh, they were so close. They just got off a little bit, and if they just would have left God in it, this would have been amazing. Anybody ever been to an event like that? Like, it was good, they had good stuff, but they were just off because they didn't know what you know about Jesus. So that was my whole career. I would pick and choose. I would go to events for business to learn, and I would take the good things and remove the things that were off, and I'd be real involved in my church, and I would take the things that church said, but some that didn't apply to me, because for the churches I grew up in, I should have been a stay-at-home mom. That's what I was designed to do. But I was built for the marketplace. Who knows, if I hadn't been a teen mom and had done things in a different order, maybe I would have, but that wasn't my life. So I never felt like I fully fit anywhere. I didn't fully fit in the church, and I tried. I was a table leader. I did events at my church. I was very involved in the women's ministry. It was like trying to squish a square peg into a round hole for me. It just didn't fit. So I thought, I guess I'm not called to ministry because there's no place for me in the church. Has anybody felt like that ever? Like I want so bad to serve the Lord, but this is where you serve, and if you can't do that, I guess I'm wrong. So I stayed in the business world. And behind the scenes, God has been always doing this transformative work in my life. Teaching me things, reshaping me, remolding me, creating me to be the person that He designed me to be. Not the one that I thought I was, not the one that the world thought I was supposed to be, not the one your parents, your husband, your kids, but the one He designed me to be. This is the power of personal development with Christ right at the center of it. In 2017, I had a huge business. We were making more money than I ever thought that I deserved in the profession. And I felt God asked me this question. I felt Him ask me, like, if you could say anything you wanted, and you weren't worried about offending anybody, you weren't worried about pissing anybody off, what would it sound like? And I felt Him nudging on me. Not the same nudge as when I knew I had to get back home, but it was still a nudge. And He was like, I want you to share more about what's going on in your life with me. And I was like, okay, how can I do that and be obedient to Him, but not mess up anything in my life? Anybody ever try to, like, I'm going to obey you, but I'll obey you just a teeny tiny, like little teeny bit. So this was me. I was like, I'm going to obey you like this, my tiny pinky in the water. So I started a podcast, and on that podcast, I began to speak about everything in my life through the lens of faith, which I had never done. I began to talk about health, wellness, leadership, relationships, building a business, all of it through the lens of faith. These are new conversations for me, but they were authentic. And when I started doing that, I felt alive in a way I'd never felt before. I was like, oh, this is like me. This is me. I thought this was me. I thought this is me. This is like the raw me coming out. And it began to change me on a cellular level where anything that wasn't that started to not feel like me. You know what I'm talking about? Like you feel that thing of like, oh, this feels right. And then you step out of it and you're all, oh, ew, I want to go back to that. That's how I began to feel. That was in 2017. Fast forward. In 2018, I wrote 2 books back to back. They were divinely inspired. I wrote them fast. The first one I wrote in 13 days. The second one I wrote a month and a half later in 3 weeks. So I knew they were from God. I don't have that talent. Published them both in 2019. The first one in May and the second one in June of 2019. The second one was a book about my experience in the network marketing profession. So it was a network marketing book in June of 2019. Making the most money I've ever made, had the biggest team I'd ever had, top of my game, had, felt very, very good about my accomplishments. August of 2019. This thing started to rise up in me, and I felt like, uh-oh, this is out of alignment now. I think I'm getting called out of this. And that was scary. That's our sole source of income, what me and my husband did together. I'm like, if I'm not that, who am I? God showed me that I actually had made an idol out of my identity in the profession. And I was like, oh no, He's gonna take it all away. Anybody ever done like, you didn't listen? And He's like, listen, I'm gonna clean you up here. And it's oftentimes when He cleans you up, like He cleans you out. I've had that happen. I was like, don't clean me out, Lord. I've been there. I will do whatever you ask of me to do. So I kind of began to push things aside because I didn't know what direction He wanted me to go, but I knew something was happening. I knew He was moving me. So like I said, I pushed things aside. I began to pray and journal for a number of months. And at the end of the year in 2019, December, literally almost the end of the year, like almost right before it's going to be the new year, I felt God tell me 2 things. And I felt pretty clear on them. The first one was that there was about to be a massive shift in the church, the big C church, the body, the kingdom. Okay? And the second one was, because God talks to us in the language that He, like for us, so I'll just tell you His language for me. He says, I'm a word person, so I like words. He says, we're at the beginning of, we're at the precipice of the largest revival that the world has ever seen. And women are going to be the catalyst for that revival, and it's going to be women in the marketplace. This is what the Lord told me. So I was like, okay. here's what I think you're asking of me, God. And so I began, at the beginning of 2020, I began investing thousands and thousands of dollars to build a platform, a place where women could come together, they could learn and grow together, because the power of personal development with Jesus at the center changed my life dramatically. And they could be proud of the fact that they were called to the marketplace, not feel less than as a Christian woman. And if you were a stay-at-home mom, you could come together and be involved in personal development and bettering yourself. It's like two camps that were so separate. So we started building this platform, and then COVID happened. See, God knows us very well, and He knew that if I didn't already invest thousands and thousands of dollars before all that happened, I wouldn't have done a thing. I would have closed it all down and stayed in my little safety zone. But I couldn't do that because I didn't want to waste any money. I'd already spent money. So I just kind of transformed the idea and made it a complete digital, everything I wanted to do went digital instead of kind of the original idea that I had. And in June of 2020, I launched the membership of Girl Power Alliance, which offered courses and calls that women could join virtually and have access to at any time, of all kinds of different topics, all done by Christian women, pouring into other women. And then a community where we could actually be together, and a real community where you could be together. Not where it was like, oh girl, you're nice, and then you turn around and you're like, which is most of the communities I have been a part of. I never really felt like I had people had my back. Anybody? Am I the only one? Yeah. Sadly, it's sad. It's sad. It's like women are the meanest to each other. And I had a lot of experiences which is why I know this whole thing was God. Because I told God, I'm not getting involved in women's ministry. I am not going to work with women anymore. They're very mean to me. They're very mean. I've had more trauma because of things that women have done in my life than men by far. So we're moving along. 2020 started this thing. It's good. It's going good. It's growing. Women are enjoying it. I'm seeing transformations. There was something missing. And my husband would ask me, he'd say, what's the thing? What's the spark? What's the thing inside of GPA? I was like, I don't have it yet. I know it's coming, but I don't have it yet, the thing. Because you could come in and you would love it, but you could leave. It was almost take or leave, right? And so about every 60 days, he would ask me, what's the thing? I don't know yet. What's the thing? I don't know yet. In November of 2021, we'd been going for a year and a half. And it was growing, but it just wasn't growing fast enough. I still hadn't made any money. We were just pouring money into it. I came to my husband and I actually cried. I said, I can't do this for another year. And I felt like I had made a mistake. Because for almost 2 years, I had walked away from the business that we built, and I was building this other thing. And now I was thinking, maybe I took a wrong turn. And I cried and I told him, I can't do this for another year. So we kind of talked about options. And actually that month, in November of, do you get a word for the year or a verse for the year that's coming? Do you do that? Anybody do that?
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it, I pray about it, but that year, God just gave me a verse. It was Isaiah 43, verse 18 and 19. Anybody know that one by heart? This is a verse that he wrote on the tablet of my heart because it was on the back of every bottle and every box when we owned our company in 2010. And the verse is, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I'm going to make a way in the wasteland and streams in the desert. And when he gave me that verse, I felt like he was telling me this Girl Power Alliance chapter is over and something new is coming. And I told you, I was already feeling like maybe I missed it. 1 month later, I was on a phone call with Molly, who Lemon talked about, and she asked me a question that had been asked many times in the year and a half prior, because people would come and say, this would be a great network marketing company. No, God called me out of that. I'm not in that anymore. She asked me a question. She said, I was talking to so-and-so, and they said, this would be a great network marketing company. And these words came out of my mouth. I said, we could. And it was like out of body. I heard myself say it. I didn't say it. And in that instant, I felt like God actually gave it back to me. But I was afraid, like, was that me, that I wanted it? So I just began to pray. I talked with my husband. I sought good counsel. Because after I owned a company before, I swore, my husband and I both, we will never do that again. That did not turn out the way we thought. It was not what we thought. I'm not doing it again. I said, God, if you're asking me to do that again, then this has to be different than anything I've seen or done before. Because in the almost 20 years in the profession, for me, I've seen really great things. I've seen really terrible things. Has anybody ever been in network marketing, had something bad happen or bad experience? So I've seen all of it. And another piece of the puzzle for me was, in my career, I would see people in business tout being believers, but they did not behave like believers. They would, I thought they would manipulate people by speaking the Christian speak, the vernacular, but their behavior didn't match. So it was another reason that I was apprehensive to be bold about my faith in business, because I never wanted to do that. That's not what my heart was. My heart was not to manipulate people. So I'm having these conversations and praying, Lord, if this is what you're saying, if you're wanting this little thing that I built to actually be an opportunity for women, then it has to look different than anything else I've ever done. And so I talked with my husband, and he was all in on it, which that's a whole different story. That was literally a sign from God that he was all in on it after the year and a half that I had been pouring into Girl Power Alliance. And we invested about double what we had already invested, rebuilt the entire platform, and modified it slightly, adding more resources in. And last year in March, we relaunched Girl Power Alliance with the same resources, even more, and an opportunity for women, if they wanted to take these resources and offer them to other women to build a business. And the moment that I made the decision, even before it was public, even before it came out, there was a shift in the atmosphere inside of Girl Power Alliance. There was just a buzz. It was the missing piece. So I will tell you that a couple of things, because oftentimes, especially women, Christians, but especially women, feel very uncomfortable talking about money or talking about making money. And I want to share this with you, my heart over this. You guys know the parable of the talents? Okay. Well, Jesus says of that parable, he says the whole kingdom can be wrapped up in this one parable. Well, that means there's a lot of truth in there for us to take away from that parable. And what he, you know, everybody knows the story, right? It's 3 guys, gives them each an amount of money. The 2 guys go and they did whatever they did and they doubled the money. And the 3rd guy didn't. He buried it because he was afraid he would lose it. And what does Jesus say that the master said about the first 2? Well done, good and faithful servant. This tells me that with all the things that we are given in life, our resources, our personal skills and talents, our resources, physical, whether it's money or, I don't know, sourdough bread, whatever it is, he is calling us to increase. This is what he says, well done, good and faithful servant, to sow into the thing that he gave you, whatever it is, whatever the resource is. And of the one that didn't, he says, take what he has, give it to somebody else. Actually, go give it to the guy that doubled what I gave him. Throw him out, or there'll be gnashing of teeth. That's like harsh. We live in a time where we have to have finances. Like, we can't do anything without them. I bet everybody has a cell phone in their pocket. Those are like mini computers. We do everything. We require it. And I will tell you that building of the kingdom, funding missionaries, building orphanages, helping families in need, we need to pray for them, but we also need to have the finances to help them. And I was just reading about this again, so I'm going to use another Bible reference. Is that okay? You guys know the story of Nehemiah? Okay, so Nehemiah, he was the cupbearer to the king, which sounds very fancy. The truth of the matter is, here was this guy, and his job was to always stay with the king, and before he drank anything, Nehemiah would drink it, and if it was poison, Nehemiah would die. Super good job. Like, literally, every day could be your last day, potentially, on earth, because of your job. But because of this, he had I mean, the Bible talks about him having favor. He had an ear to the king potentially. But if you asked him anything or spoke to him when he didn't speak to you, he could literally behead you. Like, that was normal. You talk to me when I don't talk to you, you're done. God had put a burden on Nehemiah's heart. Anybody ever have, like, God put a burden on your heart for something or someone? Has anybody ever experienced that? Like, you don't know why, but all of a sudden you have a burden on your heart for something that isn't directly connected to you, or maybe it's like kind of connected. Has anybody ever had that? Well, God put a burden on Nehemiah's heart for his people to rebuild the wall that for hundreds of years that had been attempted, but it never had been accomplished. They didn't have walls, which meant they didn't have protection, which meant they didn't really have a city. They didn't have a place that was theirs, that they could thrive as a community. So for 4 months, Nehemiah prayed, because it took a lot of courage to go to the king knowing that he could potentially, like, off him if he asked him on the wrong day. And the king actually noticed that Nehemiah was sad, because he must have been kind of a jovial guy normally. He's like, what's wrong with you? So Nehemiah took the opportunity, asked him. He said, God, can I, or not, you, king, whatever, your highness, whatever you called him, can I go do this? He was granted both favor and resources to go do the work and go rebuild the wall. So he goes and he tasks the community, all the people that were living in there. Here's the point of why I'm telling you this whole story. He went there with resources. He went there with a task to rebuild the wall. It was men, women, and children. And what he had them do is he had them build the wall that was in front of their house first. All of them. They built the wall in front of their own house first, and then they moved along the wall until they rebuilt the wall in a shorter amount of time than it hadn't been done in hundreds of years, and they did it in, does anybody know the amount of days? It was really fast. It was like 90 days. I tell you that because taking care of and fortifying your own family's finances, I believe is it's a biblical agenda. To build the wall in front of your own house and take care of your own house, so that you can then, in turn, out of the abundance of what you have been given, you can help to build the wall around other families as well. And one of my goals is to help the women inside of Girl Power Alliance to build a financial wall around their family that's so strong, so high, that nothing can knock it down. Not this weird economy, not the weird things of the world, because the world has their economy, but the kingdom has its own economy, and that's the one that we're in. We're in the kingdom economy. And that's exactly what we're doing. We are inviting women to come into this community and literally step into the version of themselves that you were designed to be when you were knit together in your mother's womb. How many of you feel like you're that woman right now? That you're literally living every day as your most authentic self in every area of your life. Is anybody doing that? It's a tall order, actually. You got to throw off all kinds of stuff from your thinking and your past and your traumas and your hurts. But she's in there. And she wants to come out really bad. And your Heavenly Father sees that in you every single day. And I heard it said once, if we could see ourselves the way that God created us, if we could see ourselves as He intended us to be, we'd be ashamed of what we didn't do with our life and how bold we weren't and the things we didn't attempt. We'd be ashamed if we knew. Our goal in this community is to help you see her, to help you step into her, and to live that every day, and to invite other women to do that. And you heard 2 testimonies today. This is just 2 of hundreds. I have never, in anything I've ever been involved in, seen such transformations in these women's lives. And when they get transformed, their homes get transformed. We should probably bring Glenn and the boys up here to talk about how different your home is because of how different you are. We are the foundation. Women are. We really are. We set the tone in our homes. We set the tone in our work. We set the tone with our children, our grandchildren, our parents, our aunts, our uncles. We set the tone. We really do. Like, don't want mama mad in the house, and everybody's like on edge. But if mom's happy, I mean, I'm kind of joking, but is it not true? What is it that my husband says? Happy wife, happy life? It's kind of true. I just know for me, I have a grandbaby now. I'm going to get to see tomorrow. I live in California. She's in Florida. So I'm very happy to be here with you all, but I'm very happy to leave because it means I'm closer to seeing my little tiny baby, Tegan. I feel a responsibility to be the most amazing example for my now grandchild. I look back and I think now, because my kids are 33, 30, and 20, I wish they had this version of me. I'm so sad that I can't go back and give them this. I think their lives might have been different. But I'm going to give them everything I have from this day forward. And any other grandchildren that come, they're so lucky. I'm very good now. Like, I'm a good grandma. Although I'm Gigi, in case anybody wonders. I want to be called Gigi. And she says, Gigi. It's like Zsa Zsa Gabor. Gigi. It's so fancy. We are absolutely on a mission to change the world. We're on a mission to empower women to step into this kingdom version of yourselves that's actually in there. It's just buried with lies from the enemy and things that he caused you to believe, or circumstances that happened to you that you've attached to yourself that aren't you. So every time we step into and we boldly start to believe in the woman that God created you to be, it just falls off. But there's layers. Trust me, there's layers. I don't know that we get all the layers off this side of heaven. Maybe we don't. I mean, we're going to try. So this thing that we're doing is about that. And I fully believe with all of my heart that when you change yourself, when you evolve, when you step into the next level and the next level and the next level of yourself, that you're actually changing the world. Because everywhere you go, you are shifting the atmosphere with that person. So it's really about kingdom, what we're doing. And as we empower women to shift and change, and we allow women to actually create an income, statistically, this is not a Christian statistic, this is a statistic in the world. When women make money, communities change. Because women pour back in. That has nothing to do with being a believer. Imagine when kingdom women make money, what's going to happen? So this is a big part of what we're doing. So you are invited to be a part of what we're doing. Let me tell you what it is now that I've told you all these things. We have 2 memberships. We have a basic membership and a VIP membership. Inside of the basic membership, you have access to calls and courses. We do 2 live calls a month that you can engage in, and they're pretty amazing. I didn't get on last night's call because I don't know why. I think I fell asleep. I've been traveling. I apologize. But we do 2 live calls a month where and just done by a variety of amazing women. And then you have access to 200 online courses and this incredible community that you get to be a part of. We call it, it's on demand. So anybody have like Hulu, Netflix, any of that? Well, guess what? That's what this is, but with personal development with Christ right at the center of everything. So instead of binging on Virgin River or something, it's the only thing I could think of, then you could spend an hour becoming a better version of yourself. That's the basic membership. It's $149.99 to start, and then $79.99 a month. And you can engage in the business at that level. You have access to the full compensation plan if you choose to not just be a member at that level, but to be an ambassador at that level. And then there's the VIP membership. And in the VIP membership, you have access to all of that plus an additional call every month that we call a leadership mastermind. I try to get some crazy people on this call for you guys. This month, wait, what month is this?
Maybe
It's May. It was Tasha Layton, who is a singer. I don't know if you guys know who that is. She was on our call this month, and she's definitely the most famous. We had Sean Bowles on a couple months ago. But even the people that aren't famous are just that high level. They're just amazing people that have hearts to pour. They just want to pour out. So you have access to an additional call. You have access to about 50 additional online courses, and you have access to 3 certifications. A 16-week biblical leadership certification. That's leadership by women for women. That will change you. It's become our signature. It's become our signature program. It will change you in ways I can't even express to you, because people come in thinking they're going to get one thing and it's different. And you can take that again and again and again. We have something called the Radiant Speaker Academy, because we really want to raise up a whole crop of women speaking for the kingdom, and create a platform for faith-based speakers to have a place that they can talk. because they're getting taken off the stages at this point in our world, right? Faith-based speakers are getting taken off the stages. We're creating a stage for them. And then the third certification we have is called the Radiant Leadership and Life Coach. We have a couple of them in the room, 3 of them, write it down, that they just went through this, and they now can teach this 16-week leadership program, and they are. Actually, you're teaching it, your class is starting, I don't know your date. And so I was the only one teaching it. But now we have 24 women teaching it in multiple time zones in 3 different countries. And I know that God's going to have thousands different languages. I think we're going to have our first Spanish class in January. Radiant Leadership, yeah. I know that just happened this week. A lot's happened this week.
So exciting.
A lot's happened this week. A lot of things are happening this week. And the only barrier that we have to be in other places is language. It's all online or live virtual. So we have people from all around the world. We're in 12 countries. And the VIP membership is $3.99 to start and $149.99 a month. And we become obsessed with helping you to get your membership paid for. We become obsessed with helping you to pour into other women as you're pouring into yourself and inviting them into the community. And so tonight, for anybody that is interested in actually getting started tonight, if you want to be a part of the business side of it, we're going to waive, there's a $47 annual fee to go from being a member to being part of the business, because you have extra things. You have a website and a funnel and all these things. So it's $47 a year. That's waived for anybody that gets started tonight, just to give you a little boost.
Molly's also gonna do a special call for them.
Yes.
Did we tell you that?
She did tell me.
Okay.
She did tell me. You'll have access to just more support than you can even imagine. And anybody that gets started tonight is going to have a special call on Monday, I think.
Yeah, 6:30.
Yeah. And you just have an amazing group of people. So I know that when we kind of put this out there to the community, like anybody that wants to do a local meeting and like plant the flag in your area to say, we're going to start something local and bring community into this. We're going to take this whole online thing that's been amazing online. Because online stuff is not like, oh, they're my Facebook friend, they're not a real friend. We've created real relationships in our online community. Now we're taking it and we're bringing it in person. And it's been amazing. So does anybody have any questions?
So how long have you been going with this? You said you started pre-COVID and then
2020.
kind of like took a break or something, or was it still kind of?
It was still going. I
relaunched
just
it?
molded it into a different shape. So 2020, June of 2020. The business side of it started in March of 2020, last year, March of 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really new.
Very new.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very new. And, you know, we're pioneering. Many of the things, everything that we're doing that no other company is doing. So like a lot of times you'll be like, this company's doing this, that's a good model. Like we're gonna follow that. We're pioneering. I got machetes and we are breaking down and this is what we're doing. So it's been exciting, it's been interesting, it's been, they know because as long as they've been here, they've seen like we were doing it this way and now we've evolved. And it's a very collaborative community too, because this is God's thing. I'm just listening to him. And sometimes he'll tell me to do this, and I do that, and I'm going in that path, and then he's like, okay, now I want you to go this way. So this is kind of how it's evolved. And it's been a wild, amazing ride. Questions? Anybody else? More questions? Lay it on me. Personal questions? Yes.
What mortgage company did your husband own?
I have to go in the archives. Let me think. He called it Liberty Mortgage. It was in Southern California, and I don't remember. I felt like the underwriting company had the word orange in it. Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't work with him. I was still in the salon, but I'm kind of remembering that the underwriting company was that. And by the way, this is another thing I loved about network marketing, because we have owned traditional businesses too. The overhead for his mortgage company, take a guess. Just somebody, you guys know, don't say it. Take a guess, somebody else.
50,000.
That, $52,000 a month before he could write a check for us. So that's another reason I love network marketing. You could come in for hardly anything and build something that was significant. My biggest build, we earned over $2 million. I started for less than $300. It was a good return on investment. I mean, I spent more than that over time because I was ordering every month and all the things, right? You go to events, you're spending money. But my initial investment was under $300. And yeah, so for an initial investment, if you were coming in as a basic ambassador, would be $149. Literally, you have the potential to build something. Oh, well, first of all, you could be in the green the first month with just 1 or 2 signups, just a few signups. You could do that. But potentially, for a very small investment, you could have a sustainable, semi-passive income. I say semi because, you know, you still have to do something. But the money continues to come in every month because this is a membership, and people want to stay. They want to keep growing. They want to stay and they want to take the next course, and they want to get on the next call because they begin to see what happens as you stay in this place of growth. Like the Bible even says, you cannot remain infants. Even though we want to, it's easier. Just complain, come to church every Sunday, and never actually initiate anything. Church was never, in my opinion, meant to be this, the 4 walls. We're the church. It's supposed to be all the time, everywhere we go. But sadly, we've kind of gotten complacent. You come in on a Sunday, you listen to a message, and you go home and you go about your life. And you don't implement anything. There's no accountability. There's nobody spurring you on, going, remember, let's do this together. This is why this is happening here. You have a community of women that are doing it together. It's encouraging you just by osmosis because you're watching these girls do this. You're like, now I have courage. Can I share with you one last thing and then I'm done, I promise. Okay, so I was recording a podcast about a month ago. I was in a hotel even. I was in a hotel recording a podcast with a girl and she began to speak a prophetic word over me. Half of it was recorded, half of it wasn't. And one of the things that she said was, she said, you have been anointed with courage keys. This is what she said about me. She said, just being in your atmosphere, even if you don't say anything, you equip women with courage. And so I posted this as I'm flying out to my first city. I'm on a tour of 5 cities. I was in North Carolina yesterday. I'm here. Then I go to Canada for the rest of the week in 3 different states in Canada. Because there's all kinds of Christians in Canada. They're excited about this. And so I did a little post and I talked about this, the courage keys. Well, when I get to the event on Tuesday night, thank you. She goes, I have a gift for you and you're not going to believe it. I bought it a couple of weeks ago. And she pulls out this little sachet and it was a necklace with a key on it and the key said brave. Yeah. It's this little nod from the Lord saying, yes. So I want to endow you with courage tonight. I'm just giving it to you. Whatever the thing is that you have not been able to do, I want you to have the courage to step up and do it. There's so much more. The enemy wants you exhausted, broke, depressed, and hopeless. Because if you stay there, you never fulfill your purpose on the earth. You never have the opportunity to impact lives. Because you're just stuck in your own stuff. But when we step out of that, we step into who it is that God created us to be, and we look back at all the things that have happened in our life, just like that song, you can see God in every single thing. That's where I'm at this particular point in my life. I look back at a lot of the junk that I was mad about and complained about for many years, and I'm like, man, he was like getting me ready for this. All those things. He was getting me ready. He allowed that to happen because that gave me a gift. That was another notch in the key. Like all the little things on the side of the key. It was another little notch in the key. So wherever you're at tonight, I just want you to know that there's more and you have the ability to impact generations, break generational chains and impact generations with who you are right now. And invite you to be a part of what we're doing and exponentially grow. So we'll be hanging out. There's cookies. If you guys have questions, you have the local girls here. If you're interested in being part of what we do. By the way, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you come in and you love it, great. If you come in and you hate it, we'll give you your money back. Like, You're not locked in for life. Although we want you here for life. Yes,
Excuse me, I have a couple of practical questions.
yes,
Sorry,
that's okay.
allergies. First of all, are you a part of any, accountability organization? I know there's the direct selling organization, but I don't know if there's others. And-
There's really two, the Direct Selling Association and then the World Direct Selling Association, those are the two. I have chosen not to be a part of them because they are antiquated and they aren't a governing body. They are a membership that a company pays so they can carry the seal. And once upon a time when I got into the profession, there were qualifiers. They looked at your comp plan, they looked at a lot of things. They said if you had this, this, and this, then you are accepted into our membership, and they're no longer that. They just take everybody's money. So I don't feel that there is integrity behind what they're doing, and I am, again, we're operating different.
Yeah.
We're literally operating different. If there was one that I felt had integrity, I would do it all day long. But I will tell you this, compliance-wise, I'm very, very focused on compliance because I want this company to outlive me. And so we're very compliant, the way that we do everything.
And then you had mentioned how much it was to join, but, can you explain a little bit about how the money is
Yeah.
made?
Yes. And then I'll get to your question. So same, perfect. We have six different, okay, so there's two memberships. The only product is the two memberships. If you're involved in the business, you're either signing people up as a basic member or you're signing them up as a VIP member, that's it. There's two things. And then once they're either a basic or a VIP, they can decide if they want to stay a member, which is just the resources, or if they want to become an ambassador, which shares. You're an ambassador, you're telling about the business, okay? So that's it, two products. There's 6 different ways that you get paid. Number 1, whenever you sign somebody up, there's an instant bonus. So if you sign up a basic member, it's a $40 one-time bonus. If you sign up a VIP member, it's a $100 one-time bonus. However, in your first 30 days, that's double. So it's $80 and $200. We did that by design so that you could earn your investment back quickly. And then if somebody that you sign somebody up, then that you get something too. So I sign up Lemon as a VIP. No, let's start like this. I sign up Lemon as a VIP. I earn $100. Lemon signs up Kimberly as a VIP. She earns $100. I earn $30. So it goes up. That's the one way, okay? We call that an instant enrollment bonus. The second is called the member bonus pool. Anybody that you enroll that's not an ambassador, they're not wanting to do the business, they just want to be a member. They go into this bucket called the member bonus pool, and you earn between 10 and 25% of their membership every single month. So, it's 1-to-1. So, if it's $79.99 a month for them, then you're earning at 10% $7.90 for each membership. So it starts at 10% and goes up to 25%. So when you're at the 25%, and how does it grow? Based on the number of people in there. It's a scale based on the people that you have in there. So if you're at the 25% and you have VIP members, you're earning $37.50 for every member that's in there that's a VIP every single month, residually. You sign them up once, you earn every month that they're in there. That's the second way that you get paid. The third way is as you are building up this network of members and ambassadors, you're earning more and more points every month. We have 5 different titles. When you reach a new title, you get a one-time bonus at that title. Starts at 150, then it goes to 500, then it goes to 5,000. I thought it was 3,500. No, 5,000.
Yeah,
and then 25,000. One-time bonuses. How come she knows my own comp plan better than me? I wrote that thing. Okay. So that's the third way we get paid. The fourth way is we have 2 programs that people that are not members can participate in. They can participate in our 16-week leadership program. It's $3,500 and you earn a one-time commission for that. But everybody wants to sign up because there's so much more and there's just more. It's more economical. But that's that program, or the Speaker Academy, that's 9 weeks. They pay the retail fee, which is $4,000 for that, and you get a one-time commission on that, okay? That's the fourth way that we get paid. The fifth way is a leadership bonus pool. When you reach the third title, you begin to earn every single month a set bonus that starts at 200, it goes to 500, then it goes to 1,000, then it goes to 2,500 as your whole group of members and ambassadors is growing. That's the fifth way. And the sixth way is you earn a percentage on everybody in your entire organization. Based on where you're at in the titles, you're earning more levels deep and higher of a percentage. So up until the fourth level, you're earning down 7 levels of people in your organization. When you reach the fifth level, it goes to infinity. So there's legitimately no limit. So I realize that's kind of a lot. I mean, if you know comp plans, then you kind of probably got a little grasp of it. But I will tell you, if you want more information on our YouTube channel, I've done tons of videos where I draw it out and you can see it.
And it's the best comp plan.
I have, every company says that and they all say all these things. But can I just be like totally transparent with you? We did this comp plan with a model that is not proven because nobody else is doing this. So we ran models with the comp plan and my software developer, and they give you numbers, and you like, this looks like it will work. It's a mathematical equation, right? The whole thing. So mathematically, it looks like it works, but in real life, it's different because you don't know how it's going to all play out. And we've been paying out for 1 year. And it has been amazing, and I am very, very happy with the way that it's paying people. I am seeing that in my experience in the last 20 years, I'm gonna get I'm gonna talk tech in the profession, little techie stuff. In the profession as a whole, if you look at any comp plan in any company, and you look at the total volume and what people get paid, there's kind of an average. It averages about 6%. I know everybody says, we pay 50%. It averages that the people are earning about 6% on the total volume of whatever their business is, no matter the comp plan. That's the average. So, because I've studied comp plans, even before this, because I'm in weird numbers like dork. I'm very happy to say that we are beyond that. So, I'm feeling very, very good about it. As we grow, there's a lot of additional things that I have big plans to add. I want to add big things. I want to have a legitimate healthcare plan for my members. I want to have a legit retirement program for my members. Because I know people that made a lot of money in network marketing, but they didn't leave their job because they had great insurance or great retirement. But what if you could have both? I just believe anything's possible. So I'm working on it really hard. This year my goal is the health insurance piece. Next year I'll work on the retirement piece. I want you to be able to come here, make money, and feel like you're not missing out on the things that a job provides, but still have all the freedom and independence, the impact. Like, why can't it be the best of everything? We're gonna try. We have a trip that you can earn, we have a piece of luggage that you can earn, and a lot of other things that I have in the works. That'll come as we grow. We're still a baby. The concrete, you could still like literally carve your name in the concrete because it's still wet. That's how new we are.
Ask a question about like accrediting bodies. I thought about the idea for the program.
Okay, so we do have we have an International Coaching Federation accreditation to our two certifications, to the Radiant Leadership Academy and to the Radiant Leadership and Life Coaching Program. Those are not direct selling accreditations. Those are in the world of kind of coaching and education. I've had a couple people ask me about the DSA, and if I didn't know what I knew, there's a lot of corruption and a lot of just politics, not like government politics, but like political stuff within that organization. And God's doing a new thing. We got the GOD stamp on us, not the DSA. That's a good question, though. Yes.
What does your husband think of everything?
Well, okay, so in the very beginning, I mean, he's very supportive, but when I told him the idea, I was like, I want to do this thing, I want to do it for Christian women. He's like, it's a good idea, but maybe you don't just offer it to Christian women, like maybe you, or just keep it like it's for everybody, and there's like a Christian theme, but it's not like in the forefront. And he's very smart, and he's made a lot of money, and I was like, yeah, maybe you're right. And the minute I said that, my spirit got checked. And I was like, no. He's like, you're just limiting your audience. This is what people think. You're just limiting your audience. there is no limit to what God wants to do. There's just no limit. And I will tell you, as the owner of this company, my goal is not that we're the biggest company. My goal is that we have the biggest impact, and the number of people here doesn't, those two things don't have to be the same. So now, he's always been very supportive, but when we decided to make the move and take it from a membership into the network marketing company, he got more involved. He is taking on more and more of the day-to-day like operation stuff. What I foresee happening in the future is he will handle all of the operations so that I can do this more. And we are going to be bringing a men's division to what we do. So it'll be the same, only different because they're different. Glenn back there. So that you will have the opportunity to bring men into a community where they can grow and shape. And again, we're going to start it off kind of like a beta because we're doing something that's never been done, so we want to feel it out and let it evolve. We're going to launch it in the fall. We're going to work really closely with Danae and be very focused on pouring into the next generation, the 18 to 25 group. We just know that we have to, everything is about that generation. I foresee that we'll do stuff with even younger, maybe middle school girls, have an event. I don't know. There's just the answer to everything is yes until the answer is no from God. So as we have people that want to step into these things, like Danae wants to step into this, we will do everything that we can on our end to pour into that and to create something that is sustainable and scalable and can be offered to as many people as possible. So he's super on board now. He'll be at Activate. He's going to talk at Activate. Yeah, he's going to talk about RMA. Real Men Alliance is what we're going to call it. He's a good guy. He's opposite of me. He's totally on board. And my youngest daughter is now my executive assistant. She's on board too. Slowly but surely, we'll get them all. I'll be here. Anybody else have any other questions? Yeah. Hi.
My mom has been talking to me about GPA for like a month now, and whenever I hear about like network marketing, I automatically think of like Mary Kate and Mary Kay and stuff like that, and I feel like network marketing always caters towards the older generation in a way, or like towards millennials and not towards teenagers and college students and people who don't necessarily like especially this one, people who don't necessarily have like that established like walk with Christ. And I feel like this is so in your face that it's like you have to have an image. And so my biggest like hurdle is like I'm still learning things on my faith, and I'm still learning things about like Christ and how I want to be perceived. And I feel like it's definitely like a struggle with like the spotlight of it and like the hey, we're bringing people to Christ, but I don't have everything together. So it's like, do you have like a piece of advice for that?
I do. First of all, that was very profound. And you have it really together. But I would say this. So my daughter, who's 20, Danae and I just did a call, and she said something very similar to what you said. So what we want to create, first of all, there'll be a different price point for that age group, FYI, you get college discounts. So it'll be but they'll have access to the whole comp plan at a different price point. So I'm excited about that because the reason that it's catering to older people is they have money. Like they have more money. That's the truth. So a lot of times, kind of this 18 to 25, you don't have money and you don't even know yourself. So one of the things that we want to really facilitate in this, we're calling it Her Impact, this age group. We want to really facilitate helping you to discover that person in a really healthy way with other people and with mentorship that has a foundation in Christ, but not like churchy, not that. So we have a whole thing. And my advice to you is keep doing what you're doing. And just what you said, it was very profound. And even my daughter said on the call, I can't remember what the question was, but she goes, Mom, our brains aren't even formed till we're 25. Of course I don't know the answer to that. So I think that knowing that you're in this discovery phase of your life, And the only way that you learn is to try something and go, I'm going to go this way. Okay, that's not right. All right, go like this. So don't be afraid to step out and try things. The only way you'll learn is to do it. And sadly, some people don't ever do that until they're my age. And then you step into something, you're like, I should have been doing this my whole life. So be bold. Courage, giving you courage. Just step out into things and try them. There's no such thing as actual failure. The only thing that's actual failure is not doing it. Because if you try something and it doesn't work, you didn't fail, just didn't work, or maybe it didn't fit. But now you know. It actually eliminates something off the list so that your whole life you're not wondering, I wonder what if. You're like, well, I know, I did that, it didn't work, I didn't like it, whatever. So that's the only failure in life, is not trying something. So try a lot of things and try them with your whole heart. Don't be disappointed if they didn't work. Take it as data and be like, okay, thought that was going to be not it. What's next? Just be open to what God wants to do. Let him mold you. And go all in on something until he moves you, and then go all in on that. I think people want you to, like, especially at your age, decide what you're going to do and go in that direction. Statistically, they say we have 11 careers in our life. Not jobs. Careers. That means, like, we did a lot of different things. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is a big old world. Everybody has different skills and talents, and God put you on this earth to do something that only you could do. So be bold. Thank you for that question. I really hope you'll be a part of what we're doing. I would love your input. Yes.
Any challenges that you see? Like, great question. There's certain challenges that we see in ourselves, in our situations, and you mentioned the economy. Like, there's any number of problems that we could, place in front of ourselves, within ourselves, sometimes, whatever. But, how would you speak to that, I guess, in terms of, like, challenges? And there's this message of courage to you that's standing in the face of fear or something. Like, it's not the absence of fear, it's like making action.
That's
and
exactly
facing.
right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think people think a couple of things. When the timing is right, I'll do this thing. The timer is never going to be right for you to do the thing, I will tell you. The world doesn't stop, and the enemy doesn't go, here, let me make all the room. Here, let me clear it out for you. He does the opposite. When you start to identify the thing in you, and it could be 100 different things, but there's always one to start. Most people don't even do the one, so they don't get to 2, 3, 4, 5. Great book called The Dream Giver. Anybody ever read it? The Dream Giver? Bruce Wilkinson. Read the book. I read it once a year. I read it once a year. I stopped for 3 years during the COVID years. Or actually, maybe it was only 2, because I read it again last year. The Dream Giver. I think we have this misconception that God's going to give you, like, the layout. I'm called to this. I'm just waiting for God to give me the answer. The answer doesn't come until you take the actual action step. That's when the answer comes. Period. He might give you the picture, the whole picture, and you have this very beautiful vision of something, but the only direction he will give you is one thing. And then when you're here, then you get the next step. So most people are just I'm waiting. I know this is what God called me to. I'm waiting. He's going to give me the directions. He already gave you the first thing to do. Whatever the first thing is, you already know what it is. And maybe sometimes it's not even a thing. Maybe it's just telling somebody. That might be the first thing. So just do something. And expect it to be super hard. We over spiritualize everything. Oh, I just, this is a sign that I'm not supposed to do that because it's really hard. Hello? Nothing is easy. Everything is hard. Everything. Being sad, depressed is hard. Having anxiety is hard. Not being able to pay the bills is hard. Going to a job you hate is hard. Having no self-confidence is hard. Attempting to make something of your life is hard. Working to make your life better is hard. I don't know anything that's easy. But when you're around a whole group of people that are all stepping out and doing things and being open about it. I just did this thing. I was horrified, but I did it. It gives you permission to go do it. So we're in this entire community of women that are doing things, literally, I always say, if you feel like you're about to have diarrhea, you're doing the right thing because you're so scared. I'm not joking. Ask them. I say it all the time.
All the time.
We are trapped by this lie that when it's comfortable and when the timing is right and when all the doors open and the seas part, that's when I'm supposed to do it. Have you read the Bible? Literally, every single person in the Bible that we learn about our whole lives, their entire life was struggle and hard things and relying on God and taking scary steps and having attack after attack after attack. But going, you know what, God? I believe you're bigger than the attack. I believe I believe what you said. So I'm going to keep going in the face of all the crazy. And the world is crazier than ever. Oh my word, it's crazy. So we stay focused here. We don't look out there. We stay here. And we encourage our sisters. We say, I'm going to do this thing. Do you want to do your thing? Okay, let's hold hands and we're going to do it together. Like when you were little girls. Oh, I just got a vision. Like when you were a little girl and you grabbed your best friend's hand and you both ran and did the scary thing. That's what we're doing here.
For real.
For real. And we have gone through hard stuff together, the women in this community. We share things with each other that our families don't even know. And we encourage each other to be better. Better mothers, better wives, better at your job, better as a human being, better daughters. I just don't think there's any downside to what we do. Now, people will come and they say funky things. They judge us because we use the wrong word, because they got a religious spirit on them. Oh, that's not the thing. Have you met Jesus? Because he came to break it all off. And we invite everybody to come. I hope everybody comes here. Remember my husband? Maybe you shouldn't just have it. I hope everybody comes here. And we have a lot of different denominations. We have Mormons. I heard recently we're going to get a Muslim signing up. Let the Holy Spirit come to them. I'm telling you. Come. Everybody. Non-believers. Every different religion. Come into this community and grow. I tell you. Oh, I just have chills. Because the Holy Spirit will grab a hold of them. I believe that this business is a player in the revival that's happening right now. And I believe this business is a player in the transfer of, which I've been hearing my whole life, wealth from the wicked to the hands of the godly. I believe this is part of it. I really, really do. And we work day and night to make it better and have more resources and figure out ways to make it work for you guys. And I'm obsessed with it in all the best ways. Anybody, any other questions?
Tell them what GPA stands for.
Girl Power Alliance? Okay, so I need to just record a podcast because it's a thing. People are like, they don't like the name. Well, when I was
conversation yesterday.
I was just when I was trying to come up with the name, I knew certain things. I knew the word alliance. I'm gonna age myself real quick. I don't remember the name of the cartoon, but it was like Wonder Twin Powers Activate. Do you guys remember that? Okay. So it was something about this superpower alliance that when they came together, they were stronger. So the word alliance, I knew. So I was trying to come up with something that would encompass this thing. That it was going to be women, so it would be women that were like in their power, but not like these weird feminist things. So I didn't know. I have this little plaque that my son gave me. It's this big. My husband walks into my office very casually, and I'm racking my brain, praying, writing all these ideas down, looking up URLs, and because that's part of it too. And he walks in real casually. He sees the thing. Goes, "Why don't you call it Girl Power Alliance?" And I was like, "That's it." So the girl part of it is our childlike faith, coming to Him, Daddy Jesus, like a little girl. And the power is the fact that we have authority given to us because we are His daughter. And the alliance is what happens as we align together for the kingdom. So it's not feminist, anybody that's there. It's the opposite of that. I'm going to do a podcast on it so you don't have to answer the question one of these days when I get home. Anybody else? Oh, thank you for all the questions. I love it. It's so good because if you're thinking it, somebody else might be thinking it. So that takes courage. See, it's working. More. I'm giving you more. More courage. I'm giving it to you and you and you. I'm giving you the courage. And I believe we're going to do it again next month.
Yeah. Yep, down in like Richmond Hill, Savannah area.
So those of you that decide that you want to be a part of it, you can come to that. You can bring people to that. Because I would just love to see, I would love to see this happening every month without me. You guys gathering together once a month, bring women together, bring them into community, offer them hope, come together, pray, worship. Whether they get involved or not, create community here for the kingdom. You're the church, we're the church, wherever we go, whatever we do. That's it for me. If nobody has any questions, that's it. We have cookies. The girls, if you're interested, hook up with the girls. You can do it over your phone and get started tonight or whenever. Okay? Thank you guys so much.
Screenshot them and send it to me, and if they want to be ambassadors, I'll tick it over in the system tonight. Okay. I love you. I love you. And all these live streams.